Howdy, y'all. It's a happy day of preparation, and I just wanted to. I've been thinking about this thing for a long time, and I wanted to share this with y'all to maybe help prepare our hearts and minds for the Sabbath coming up tomorrow. And I'll be reading from Luke 17, verses 5 through 10. The apostle said to the Lord, "Increase our faith." And the Lord said, If you had faith like a grain of a mustard seed, you could say to this mulberry tree, Be uprooted and planted in the sea, and it would obey you. Will any one of you who has a servant plowing or keeping the sheep say to him when he is coming from the field, Come at once and recline at table? Will he not rather say to him, Prepare supper for me, and dress properly, and serve me while I eat and drink, and afterward you will eat and drink? Does he thank the servant because he did what was commanded? So you also, when you have done all that you are commanded, say, we are unworthy servants. We have only done what was our duty. Every single time I hear somebody talk about this passage, they always talk about the size of the mustard seed, and how one's faith should amount to that size, as if faith is quantifiable. We've all heard the song, "It only takes a little bit of faith to move a mountain." So, but I don't think that's what this is really about at all. I think it has everything to do with what a mustard seed does rather than the size of it, and I'll explain that. So encoded with everything living within creation, it has a set of instructions. In this case, it's in the DNA of the seed. The seed can literally only do what it is told. It can only follow its instructions. It's planted in the ground, it sprouts up, it grows, and it produces more seeds, more mustard seeds specifically. If it were to deviate from those instructions, something's wrong, okay? And he's saying that, and I think that this whole I read from the ESV, and in this, these two parts of this one parable, I think it's all one section. It's separated by section headers, but I think it's all part of the same parable, and I'll explain why. So he mentions the unworthy servant, because he's unworthy because he's only done what he was commanded. So, like the mustard seed, the only thing that it can do is what it's commanded. It can't think for itself. It can't make decisions. It doesn't have a prefrontal cortex. Just like a dog will never try to be a cat, or a cat will never try to be a dog. They can only do what they were created to do. We have a purpose, but we've also been given free will. We have a prefrontal cortex. We can make decisions. We could choose to disobey those instructions if we want. So we know that Ecclesiastes 12:13 says, the end of the matter, all has been heard. So fear God and heed his commandments, for that is the lot of all mankind. That is the whole duty of man, some translations say. So yes, keeping the commandments is our duty, but if we don't go the extra mile, if all we ever do is what we were told, if we don't walk in the Spirit, remember Yeshua came and he gave the commandments, but he came and made them harder. He said, it is written that you shall not commit adultery, but I say to you, if you've lusted in your heart, then you've already committed adultery. So he made it harder. So if all we ever do is just walk in the letter of the law, what good are we? That's what he's saying here. That's why these two things are linked. He's saying, if you had the faith to do what you were created to do, you could do what is literally impossible. You could have you could tell this mulberry tree to uproot itself and its massive root structure and tell it to plant itself in the ocean, and it would obey you. Remember in Genesis, God gave man his crown jewel of creation, dominion over all creation. It is our purpose to do that. We are supposed to have mastery over creation because that is what he created us for. But if all we ever do is just follow the letter of his commandments, and we never think about we're not led by the Spirit, then what good are we? And I think that's what he's teaching here. I hope this is that this was useful to any of you. I thought about it for a while, and I think that's what he's teaching here. All right, thanks.